Especially when you are committed to growing and scaling your business, the last thing you need is a mentorship horror story on your hands. When you hire a mentor, you are investing in them financially as well as emotionally, so you need to make sure that the connection you have with them is strong and aligned with your values. I want to share with you some of my less than ideal mentor stories and give you my best tough love advice on when to fire your mentor. I really love the quote that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and your mentor is likely going to be one of them. So this is a big decision in any relationship to surround yourself with people that encourage your growth, not limit your growth. The other quote I consider when hiring a mentor is that I don't want to take advice from someone that I wouldn't trade places with. So it's more than just choosing a mentor to help me get to my goal. It's also seeing how we're going to get there and if I respect or admire the lifestyle that they have in addition to what they're helping me through in my business goals. I want to look for a mentor that has the same family values as me, that they're not hustling and burning out to get to the goal, that I respect the relationships they have around them. You typically hire a mentor with the intention of having them help you get to an outcome, and you want to make sure that the outcome that they're walking you through, the path that they're currently walking, is the one that you want to be on as well. So the big red flags that I would look for if you're considering giving your mentor the axe is if they potentially ignore you, let you down, becomes jealous, betrays you, or if that your values just no longer align. And it's also fair to say that some mentors may just be in your life for a season. Let's first talk about a mentor that your values no longer align with. And this is typically demonstrated through their actions, or maybe you do feel let down or ignored or even betrayed. Before I tell you the story this came from about my less than ideal mentor, have you subscribed to this channel yet? I want to give you all the latest strategies for scaling your business, and the easiest way to stay in the know is to subscribe to my channel. So hit that red button before we move on. I had a mentor that I hired that at first glance was so charming, says all the right things, very smooth talker, lots of promises. Does like a sleazy ex-boyfriend maybe come to mind here? So with all those promises, he didn't end up following through on most of them. And when I brought it up to him, he seemed to turn it around on me like it was my fault that he no-showed to multiple calls that we had scheduled, or that it was my fault that what they said, which was sexually inappropriate, was my fault for perceiving it that way. I don't know about you, but that is like an instant no, absolutely not. That does not align with my values for how I want to show up in relationships or the kind of connections I want to have, and also my boundaries for how I tolerate being communicated to. I also had a mentor years ago that I felt started to hold back and even discourage my ideas or discourage things that I wanted to do to expand my business. And it seemed that as I grew more, like this mentor wasn't being as open with me. We weren't connecting emotionally anymore. The conversations became dull, like they were withholding information and even discouraging the ideas that I wanted to pursue. And I sensed that there might have been a jealousy or an envy. If I, as a mentor, have a student that surpasses the teacher, amazing, my work here is done. And that's a good reason to move on from a mentor. If you have fully pursued that phase of development with them, and now it's time to move on to a new mentor for a new season. In this case, I felt like the mentor just, based on some things that she had said, like she said one time, like, one day when you're bigger than me, you're just gonna leave me in the dust. And I think that statement says a lot more about them and assuming that that's how someone thinks. Maybe that was a reflection of her own behavior. So it felt like she was only available to me to a level of growth that didn't surpass her own, which is very limiting. I believe if you want to go far, go together. Again, some mentors are just for a season, and I learned a lot from that one. I also learned what I didn't want to be like. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had a bad mentorship or friendship breakup. I think it's happened to most of us. Same thing with that quote about friendships. Some are there for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. You might naturally outgrow them. You might graduate upon learning the skill or getting to the outcome that you set out to achieve. Some mentorship relationships will also evolve. I was in Russell Brunson's Inner Circle. I also joined Alex Sharfin's Mastermind, and those are two mentors that I just credit so much for my biggest epiphanies and so much growth too. And I still consider them mentors, even though what I learned from them now and my relationship I have with them now has changed. I have another video on my channel called Was My $25,000 Mentor Worth It?, where I talk more about some of my best and worst mentorship experiences and the best things to look for, and which investments in mentors were tenfold the best mentors I ever hired that got me the biggest ROI. If you are in the position where you're considering giving your mentor the axe, cutting ties, going separate ways, I'll share with you some of the ways that I've done that so that you can navigate this in a way that's not so confrontational. I'll tell you that in situations like the first mentor that I mentioned, the one that no-showed to a lot of calls, made it seem like it was my fault, was a little bit inappropriate, there were some good things in the program that I really valued still. There was a community of other people inside of this mentorship program that I really liked, and I got a lot of good value from those connections and from the live events where we spent time together, and then from other people, and then from business opportunities. Some of those people became clients. Some of those people also became referral partners for me. So I'll tell you that even though the mentor I hired was pretty disappointing, I would still say that I got my ROI from that. At the time, I considered cutting my losses and staying in the program because of that, and just understanding that I should lower my expectations from this mentor. But when it switched to the inappropriate side, that's where I was like, no, I'm out. I can't even align with these values anymore. And that just felt, unethical and out of integrity for me. So it was a simple conversation to say, these are my boundaries. They were crossed. I don't feel comfortable, and I'm going to discontinue now. I think that if you approach that conversation with authenticity and just show up genuine to that conversation, hopefully the other person won't react and you can just cut ties. For the most part, I would prefer to stay committed even if the other person didn't, but in this situation, I had to cut ties because it was out of alignment with my values. With the second mentor that I mentioned, the one that was kind of limiting in our relationship and seemed to be holding back as I became more successful, that was one that I decided to just continue to the end of my agreement. However, I adjusted my expectations and I looked for learning opportunities elsewhere inside of my mentorship agreement with her. I was still getting value from my coaching and my mentorship with her. However, now I would see it through a bit of a different lens and take most things with a grain of salt, knowing that it might have been coming from something that was a reflection of her, which might not have been the best thing for me. And then I also looked for other opportunities inside of the program through other relationships, other networking opportunities to learn from other people rather than just her. I think that's an important thing for you to look at when you're hiring a mentor is, do I need to give them the axe because something isn't aligning that I can't overcome or find value elsewhere? Or am I just wanting to leave because I'm not putting in the effort to find value inside of this program? I'm sure a lot of coaches watching this, you've had people join your programs, and if they don't get results immediately, sometimes their limiting beliefs comes up, they get fear, and they want to quit before they put in the effort. And you see as a coach, they're like 3 feet from gold. So I want to make sure for us, when we're making that decision in mentorship programs that we've invested into, that we are really giving it a full chance. And if there's any reason that you need to leave or part ways, that it really makes sense to and it is in your highest good. My superpower that I mentor my clients through is building out an evergreen lead generation machine and helping them scale those leads to high ticket. And if that's something you're interested in, I would love to give you access to my highest performing, most revenue generating campaigns that you can plug and play into your business and your YouTube channel to maximize your lead generation and sales. So click the link in the video description below to attend our Hello to High Ticket training. Very smooth talker, lots of promises. Does it sound like your terrible ex-boyfriend? Does it sound like, I'm trying to make a joke of it. Does that sound like a sleazy does like a sleazy ex-boyfriend maybe come to mind here? Just navigate this in a way that's, I don't know, good. It was out of alignment with my integrity. Is it integrity?